Hello everybody and welcome to This Nintendo Life episode 303. My name of course is NBZ and I join you here on yonder episode, joineth as always by Bally, who
Hello.
is also here. Hello.
I'm here. I've been sick, ill. Sick, I think sick is like what the Americans say. I'm sick. They say sick.
Yeah, well,
for
you know,
having a
here's the
cold.
thing, is like both ill and sick were used in the 90s as like alternative ways of saying something is cool. And I feel
Yes.
like sick is like maybe ill is earlier in the canon. I'm not sure which came first, sick or ill, when it comes to like this is some cool stuff, you know. But both have been used, which is ironic.
Whoever used ill in replacement for cool?
Yeah. Someone did it out there.
Are you
and
sure?
They just, you know.
I always assumed
Yeah.
ill was like more UK and sick was like American. Anyway, yeah.
Nah,
It's-
people say I feel like ill was like the original sick, you know, when it's like you're the illest, you know, in those songs, you know, in the 90s we were like we're the illest, you know, people use that. And so if you're like ill, like it's like yo, it's same vibe, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, I'm so ill. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even cool. I was just ill, which was a shame.
no, you're
but yeah.
sick. You're literally what's another word? Is there another word that we can use that is not ill or sick? Poorly. Maybe under the weather. Yeah, afflicted, one might say, with disease. Diseased.
Diseased, down,
Yeah.
low.
Down with the sickness. Now, if
Down
we're
with the
going down with the sickness, of course,
Yeah.
we all know the
System of a
legendary
Down
song.
There we go.
No, that's Disturbed, actually. Let's get it right, Bally. Down with the Sickness was Disturbed, not System of a Down. So,
When you said Down with the Sickness, I thought that was a band, and that's why I said System of a Down. But
oh my,
never mind.
Bally, you've not heard the iconic anthem from that band, Disturbed, Down with the Sickness. Ooh,
I think I've probably heard it referenced more than I have
Okay.
heard the song, which is
You've not okay.
story
Well,
of
you
my
gotta
life,
let me just
honestly.
tell you. You gotta go and listen to Down with the Sickness. It's one of those classics from Disturbed. I think I was the one who listened to Disturbed, to be honest. Like I definitely downloaded back in our LimeWire days, of course. Shout out to LimeWire. Definitely me who downloaded a lot of Disturbed songs, and I don't think it was your scene. I don't think you were that into.
I tell you, there is one song Disturbed I listened to a lot.
Is it the fucking cover of
Yep,
Sound of
yep,
Silence
there we
that they
go,
did with
there
Miles
we go.
Kennedy?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I do like Simon and Garfunkel. Big fan.
That's true.
Big fan.
And you also do love Miles Kennedy, the greatest vocalist
The
who
greatest.
ever lived.
He's in it for, in it for
and
the
still
music.
is alive.
In it for the music.
He's always in it for the music. He loves it. Anyway, hello, we're here.
But yeah, I was ill. I was traveling down south of England for a wedding, and yeah, it's a long drive with two kids. My God, it's just exhausting. But we are home. We're more or less in one piece. Everyone's back in their routines, which is what kids crave. So yeah, it's good to be back. But sounds like you've had a busy week as well.
Yeah, certainly has been an interesting one in the case of I was in Germany, obviously, doing German things, such as going to Gamescom, which is a place, and it's a place where everyone goes in the games industry, or at least a lot of people go in the games industry, to do business, to do other things, but mainly to do business, and sometimes to play video games and such like that. So yeah, we were there. We were on Jeffrey Keighley's opening night live, and we also were on the show floor. So we had a booth. You could play some video games, what we've got coming out at some point later on. So yeah, it was good. Lots of people coming to the booth and saying hi, and I met a lot of like internet people while I was doing that. So John from Good Vibes Gaming, John Cartwright, he was there. Said hello to him. Who else? Alex McCullough, the YouTube musician guy. He came by the booth. I met him at the Golden Joysticks last year, and he was interested in Unbeatable. And I was like, well, the developers are here, so if you want to talk to them. And so, that was cool. He got to talk to the devs there. And then, Noble from Blue Sky Twitter, the guy who kind of took over Nibellian's role. He came by the booth as well. So I said hello to him, and that was very cool. So lots of cool internet people who I kind of tangentially know came by, which was great. And then a few other people who I know in the industry who I said hello to. So it was overall a pretty good week of people coming and playing the games, and telling us stuff about them and all that good stuff. And yeah, went pretty well. So I enjoyed my time, and definitely was a bigger booth than we've had before. We did it a couple of years ago with 2 other games, and this time we had 3 games, but we also had like double the space. We also had like 3 extra people, which is definitely a lot more helpful, so that you can properly do a booth and not be exhausted the whole time and not being able to do stuff. So yeah, it was all good, and it worked. And
have some nice accommodation.
Europe does have AC sometimes, but our hotel it didn't. So
did the hotel we stayed in have AC? Do you remember?
I can't. It was so long ago. I feel like we went to Germany so long ago that like global warming wasn't a big factor.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The level of temperature, the level of heat now compared to 9 years ago we went to Gamescom is pretty astronomical, I will say. So maybe we did, maybe we didn't. All I can remember is that I didn't have trouble getting to sleep because of the heat back then. Certainly did now. So my hotel unfortunately did not have AC, so that was great. Did have a fan though, and to be honest, like I've been living with a fan on me for most of the summer anyway. I currently have a fan pointed at me right now, so it's something that you just kind of have to do, I think, in terms of making sure that you are not burning to death. It was convenient location. At least it was right by the station, so it was very easy for us to just like go in the morning and do stuff and have everything ready to go. So it was all pretty good. The only negative was that we had some merch that we were going to give to people, and the merch got held up in customs, so it never arrived.
Thanks, Brexit.
So that sucked. Yeah, thanks Brexit, for fuck's sake. So that was bad, but aside from that, it all went pretty smoothly. And Bally, I played some video games there. But before we talk about that, do you want to tell everyone what today's show is going to be?
So we're going to do one long extended segment, and for the first chunk of the segment you're going to talk a bit about Gamescom, and then for the latter chunk of the segment we are going to get in some Donkey Kong Bananza spoilers. I've beaten the game, you beat the game a while back, MBZ, so we're going to talk about all things mechanics and story and music and abilities and all sorts, and finale that we think are better suited to a spoilery discussion. So we'll get to that after you talk about Gamescom.
Yeah, so hopefully it's been enough time for most people to have a wrapped up Donkey Kong, but there's new video games coming out, Bally. They're coming to this it's a console. It's called the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't know if you heard of it, but Nintendo have put it out there. Not many games on Nintendo Switch 2. Was a bit of a chatter around Gamescom. It's like, even if you're like a big developer, there's a lot of people who just don't have Switch 2 dev kits, which is interesting to say the least.
It's the balance of like, we don't want the Switch 2 system to leak, which it seems to have done anyway. Right. But so we won't give out dev kits, and now we're a few months into launch, and the third-party support is minimal's exaggerating, but there's a whole lot of games that aren't on the Switch 2 or don't seem to be coming to the Switch 2 anytime soon that you would expect should be on Switch 2. Like, have Nintendo kind of shot themselves in the foot here?
I would say a little bit. I think that, to be honest with you, most people who are buying a Switch 2 are only playing Mario Kart and Donkey Kong and not much else. But
I mean, that's what I am at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I think there's a lot of people like you who don't really have the time to necessarily play anything more than that. But but I don't know. I do think they're missing a trick. Like, for example, Shinobi is coming out this week, and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound came out. Neither of them I'm going to play on Switch 2 because I've heard the Switch version is bad. And if they had a Switch 2 version, I would happily download them and buy them on Nintendo's eShop and give Nintendo the 30% cut of my money. But Valve's going to get that instead because Nintendo didn't let those teams have a Switch 2 dev kit. And so I'm not buying those versions because they're not the versions that are like living up to what the Switch 2 should be, right? So look, there's not that many people like me out there, but I do think that there's enough people like me who are also early adopters to where they are definitely losing out on money because they just have done such a piss poor job of getting dev kits out there.
How much does it cost them to give dev kits out versus the money made, right? Surely what they make in return is a big jump.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to know because it's just Nintendo and Enigma, and you never have any idea what they're doing or why they make decisions or anything along those lines. I'm sure they are not really that bothered because they've already had this be the most successful console launch of all time, fastest selling, all that nonsense, and I'm sure all the games are, especially the first party ones, are doing extremely well. Aside from Dragon Drive, which seems like it's probably going to bomb massively, which I don't know, Bally, if you had a chance to check out the free...
I did not.
Okay, just to touch on that briefly, I did play Dragon Drive. Yeah, man, like it was fine. Like it did work. Like I used it on my trousers and tried to get it to go that way. But like, there's so much. I don't know. Like it feels cool that they implemented that way. But my arms got very tired very quickly, and I was like, okay, I need to do this quite often. And it feels like it's quite hard to make it work and a little janky. Not janky in terms of polish, but janky in terms of like, oh, how do I like position myself to stop this guy when he's going full speed? And it almost feels like most of the matches anyway in that playtest were like, okay, well, one guy's gonna get the ball and he's gonna go really fast and just go to the other end and just shoot and score. And that's it. And it very much felt like a 8-year-old football game, you know, where all the 8-year-olds just chase after the ball, and no one really has any tactics around it. And I think that's going to be the case with a lot of games like this online, but especially with this one, it just felt like there was no tactics of any kind, and yeah, a little frustrating. But yeah, it sounds like that game is scored very badly, and probably is not going to sell well either. So yeah. Not great. Feels very very thin as a Switch 2 exclusive from Nintendo. Probably, I don't know, maybe it should have been a pack-in. Who could have thought? Maybe you should have a free game that uses some of the functionality of the system as part of your launch. But
I think there's, in some weird way, there's someone at Nintendo who knows this game wasn't going to be good because of, I would argue, two main points. I think, one, if they wanted it to do well, yes, it could have been a pack-in. It also could have been launch. And secondly, I think if they wanted it to be successful, it could have had a bit more style to it. And it is just so, you know, compared to ARMS. ARMS is just so much character, so much flavor. Like, this game just seems so plain in comparison. And it
could have had, like, literally any personality.
Exactly.
It would be better.
Exactly. And it's like they knew that it wasn't going to sell well, therefore, let's just leave it vanilla and not waste resources on, and we'll use those models that we've designed on some other game. I don't know, but I'm just hypothesizing, but this seems weird.
Yeah, it is odd for sure, but you know, it's one of those games where I imagine it will be £5 in like 6 years' time, and as the Switch 2 is dying and we're getting the Switch 3 or whatever the hell Nintendo does next, I'll buy it for £5 and just have it there, you know.
And I heard Giant Bomb saying, like, you can't just squad up and play another squad like you can with like a Rocket League, for example. And it's like, well, and that, again, Nintendo just love shooting themselves in the foot, so...
Oh yeah.
Well done, Nintendo.
No, it's classic Nintendo of like, oh, what are we gonna do? Oh yeah, I think we're just gonna make sure that nobody can actually play this game how they want to online. Even though it's an online game, it's like, oh, okay, Mario Kart. So you guys want to play the fucking knockout tour together? No, we're not gonna let you do that just because we feel like it. You know, it's like, it just boggles the mind. Like, is there nobody there who like plays video games online with other people? My guess is no.
Just Sakurai. He's the guy who plays. He's the guy who plays all the games.
That's true. Yeah. I'm sure that Kirby Air Ride is going to have a very robust kind of suite of online features.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Aside from that, it's not going to be very significant. So yeah, that was a little side tangent. But Bally, I was of course at Gamescom 2025 and. Also with Nintendo, so speaking about the last time we were at Gamescom together, the only time we have been, which is 2016, it was a pretty, let's say, anemic presence that Nintendo had. There was a small little Wii U area, and there were some 3DS games there that we played. It was very, very tiny as like a section of one of the halls. There was also that reception place where there were like Breath of the Wild demos, and we tried our fucking hardest to get into that.
Begged the poor soul to let us in.
Yeah.
They weren't going to, but yeah.
No, it didn't work out for us. But so this year was a stark difference in that Nintendo basically had like half of that hall to themselves. It was crazy the amount of stuff that they had available. So I have 6 games that I played, all for Switch 2 that we can chat about. And I don't know where we want to start first. So I did.
Well, we talk about who didn't get a dev kit. Team Cherry got a dev kit. So
they did.
So we hear
they
about
certainly
the
did.
hotness and the game that is going to be coming out in less than 2 weeks that we will hopefully talk about next time on the show.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy that we're going to talk about it next time on the show. Yeah, let's talk about Hollow Knight. So, ironically, Hollow Knight, the only one that I didn't play at Nintendo's booth. So, here was the situation. So, on day one, I walk through the hall, right? And I'm looking at all these places, these arenas, the setup for them, blah, blah, blah. And so, Nintendo has this Hollow Knight area, right? And it's like, I don't know, it's like a setup of like maybe 10 stations. There are 5 handhelds, like 5 TV setups. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, that seems like not a huge amount. And then I look at the space that they've allotted for the line, and I'm like, that doesn't seem like it's going to go very well for you guys, because I don't know if you realize, but like people are fucking ravenous for Hollow Knight and like obsessive in a way that is, let's say, scary. So they have this whole system, right? And they're like this short line.
They don't think anything through. We've decided that this is what Nintendo do.
Oh, I don't think they have any fucking idea like what is actually popular, right? Like Hollow Knight clearly going to be the most popular. Like I think Hollow Knight more popular than Metroid Prime 4 in terms of people wanting to play it at Gamescom, right?
Yeah.
Like more popular than Pokemon, which is fucking crazy, but yes, I think it is. And so they were like, oh, we have this little line, and I'm like, this is a fucking bad idea, and you're going to regret this. And guess what they did? Because immediately on the first public day, they shut that line down because there were people who were queuing outside into the sun. They were literally outside the building. People were standing in the sun and were getting heat stroke, and so Nintendo were like, oh, well, we didn't think this through, I guess, so now we have to create a ticketing system. So they created a fucking ticketing system where you had to go online onto the Gamescom app and apply for a ticket for a certain period.
Do you not get into the showroom, show floor, earlier in the day because you're a presenter person?
Exhibitor, yes. So the way that it works, basically, so I saw, what I'm talking about is on the Tuesday, which is the day that you build everything.
Okay, got
that's where I kind of clocked this, because we could there was no one on the show floor, just builders building stuff. It's very empty, basically. Wednesday is where the press come in. So on the press day, the press media day, that line was being used, but it was absolutely fucking full. It was like there was no one else who could join it,
even on press day.
Even on press day. And then on the public day, that's when things went to shit. And so Nintendo created this fucking ticketing system where you had to use your Gamescom account, go to the Gamescom website, choose a time slot, and you could only get a time slot 2 hours before the time slot that you wanted to do. It was a fucking mess. And so I was talking to the person there, and they were like, yeah, like Xbox has more stations and there's no ticketing thing there, so I guess you can go play it there. So I was like, yeah, fuck this. You know, I didn't get to play it on Switch 2, but it doesn't matter. It's coming out in 2 weeks anyway. So I decided to go and play it at Xbox instead.
Are you going to buy it on Switch 2 or play it on Game Pass?
I'm going to buy it on Switch 2. Yeah, I think like it's a game I want on handheld for sure. And also it's 120 frames on Switch 2 in handheld. So that's going to be buttery smooth, which is going to be super nice.
And it's
so
definitely a Switch 2 version, none of the Switch 1 version rubbish. They got the dev kit.
It was running on Switch 2.
Right.
It's going to be a Switch 2 native version.
Nice.
You know, you couldn't do 120 frames a second otherwise, right? So it's fully built for that, and obviously it's going to play great on Switch 1 as well because it's Hollow Knight. It doesn't like look like anything crazy, so it will be perfectly fine if you still just have a Switch 1. But Switch 2 version of Hollow Knight is definitely what I'm going to play. But I played the Xbox version because, you know, it's much easier to get in. So, okay, here's what happened. I went there like during the day, a day before, because I went early on the Friday morning, I think it was, because we had shifts at the Indie Arena booth, and my shift on Friday started at 11 a.m. So I was like, right, this is my chance this morning to go and just play stuff. So I got up super early. So on Thursday, I went to the Xbox area. I was chatting to the guy there, and I was like, what time do you guys open? Like, when can I come and play it? And so he was like, like, I don't know, like 8:45. And he was like, oh, probably like 8:30. He was like, I'll be here. I'll just let you in, whatever. I was like, okay, cool. I'll come at 8:30. So next morning, I go there bright and early, get to the area at 8:30 in the morning. And then there's no one there. There's just Xbox people hanging around. And I'm like, all right, well, seems like it's empty, so I'm just going to walk up and start playing it. So I go there, put my headphones on, start playing it. And then like a couple of minutes later, 2 more people come by and they put their headphones on. I'm like, oh, okay, seems like anyone can just sit here and play it. And then like another minute goes by and a guy comes up to me and he's like, we don't open until 9, you're allowed to play this. And I'm like, but the guy yesterday told me, and then I realized that the people next to me have these bands on. They're like Xbox bands. They're like influencer or like special preview people bands, and I'm like, oh, I don't have that. But I was like, look, mate, your staff member told me yesterday 8:30. And I'm already like 5 minutes into this demo, and I basically just go back and forth with him for a bit, and he's like, fine. He just fucking like leaves me alone to do it. So I managed to complete the demo, but I only managed to do one of the 2 areas because I wanted to do both areas. There were 2 areas in the demo, and I only got to do the first one, which it seems like is the very start of the game, basically.
Okay.
It played the same cutscene that they've shown in a previous trailer, and then it was like, just dropped me straight in, and I was like, this seems like the beginning of the game. So anyway, I got to play it. It was about, I would say 10, 12 minute demo. It's not very long at all, so not a lot of time to get your kind of, I don't know, thoughts on it, but it felt like Hollow Knight is my hot take. I think it's surprising how much it feels like Hollow Knight. In a sense, I almost wanted it to feel slightly different. We've talked a lot about like Hornet being a more agile character, potentially being a bit faster. The movement speed, I do think, is slightly faster than the original Hollow Knight, but not significantly. It feels around the same, and so I was like, okay, this feels pretty similar. It still has all the stuff you want, which is like hit the bush, and it has a nice flutter in the background, right? All the polish that Hollow Knight had of like walking on the grass and it kind of like bends underneath your feet. Like it has all that tangibility to the world, which I really love. Is one of the best things about that game from a polish perspective. And so you have your needle, which is slightly different to the one in the base game. Your attacks are pretty similar. The only difference is, so you have your up attack, right, where you strike into the sky. Your down attack, instead of being like a DuckTales pogo, it's now a 45-degree angle strike. So you basically like strike down at an angle, essentially, like you're kind of javeling to the ground. So that's your down attack, and I would say that's the only major difference in terms of moveset so far. Now, of course, this is very early on in the game, so it's not, opened up any abilities, movement abilities, weapons, all that sort of stuff. There's obviously going to be a lot more of that stuff, but even the healing is kind of similar. It's like you press the B button and you do a different animation. It's like a bunch of like threads go around you. It's called bind, and so you bind and you kind of heal yourself that way, and it's the same system of like hit enemies to get juice back, and the juice will refill, and you use that to heal, essentially. So I would say, like, fundamentally, from what I played so far, it feels like a sequel to Hollow Knight, right? Like, it feels exactly like that game in so many ways, and I think the interesting part is going to be, okay, where does it start to diverge? What are the abilities that we're going to get? How different are they going to be? And how separated is this world going to be? How big is this world going to be in comparison? Like, I think it's one of those games where it's quite hard to demo it effectively, because as a Metroidvania, you really want to take the time to dig into the world exploration and what moves you unlock, and building up your arsenal. I went into the inventory to try and see if there was any badges or anything. I couldn't see anything of the like. I had something equipped. I had like my outfit was equipped and then something else. But it feels like the map is the similar setup of like, I don't have a map at the beginning. I'm going to have to get a map maker to get me a map. So I think it does feel like there's going to be a lot of the same fundamentals of Hollow Knight in here. But it's good. I don't know what else to say about it, to be honest. It was I got to the first boss and I beat the boss first time. So which is, it's very basic. I think they do a good job of like very slowly building things up for you when it comes to bosses. The original game was like this as well, where it's like, oh, okay, I'll take a few hits but I can heal, and its pattern is very easy. Its pattern is basically, it's like a flying, it's not like a wasp, but it's like a moss-covered wasp almost, and it just basically like swoops down, and you basically have to jump over it and then hit it a bunch, and then it's going to swoop again. And it's just it's a game of like jumping over and hitting it a bunch, because that's all the moves you have at the beginning. So it's just kind of like teaching you the basic movement mechanics. So yeah, that was like the first area demo, and then I didn't get to play the second. But to be honest, I don't think it would have really changed my thoughts on it.
It's play it in like less than 2 weeks.
Exactly, and I think that was the part of me that I was also like, at a certain point I was like, do I even need to, like, after they announced that date, I was like, well, do I even need to go and play it early? But I was like, yeah, I'm here, I might as well. I have the exhibitor pass, I can get in early, so like if I can play Hollow Knight, I might as well just try it. So yeah, all good, and I guess my first time playing it on Switch 2 will be when it comes out next week. So nice. Yeah, that will be exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's very interesting right now because we're seeing on social and everywhere that a bunch of indie games are moving their release date because of Hollow Knight Silksong. I can tell you what, we were watching the direct, whatever they want to call it, the special presentation. We had it. Yeah, so Andrew, who's the director of Unbeatable, he had it on his phone, and we were just standing there at the booth, just watching it, like fingers crossed, being like, "Please fucking don't be like, please don't be November," because we literally just announced Unbeatable's release date was November 6th, and we're like, "Please God, don't fucking be November." And then it was September, and I was like, "Oh, for thank God, Jesus Christ, dodged a bullet."
The game that everyone's been waiting 7 years to come out just happens to launch at similar time to your game would just be a disaster.
Yeah. Another game that people have been waiting 7 years to come out, ironically. So, it's very relieving that it's coming out soon. But I don't know, it's kind of destroying my backlog because now I'm just like, well, I guess I'm playing Hollow Knight now instead of playing anything else. So, and that game's going to be long, I imagine. I do hope that it is similar to the first game and that like a just regular run through will take 20 hours. That would be ideal.
I mean, 20 hours is still very long for a Metroidvania.
Metroidvania, certainly is. Yeah, definitely is.
I think it will be. I think it should be.
Yeah, I hope so. But I don't know. I haven't read the Duration Triad piece on it. But it sounds like, they were just making it because they enjoyed it and they kept wanting to make more. And so I don't know how big it's going to be. I imagine it's going to be fucking huge. So we shall see. But that's Hollow Knight Silksong. So other games I've played. I played Pokemon. I played Metroid. I played Kirby. Let's start, Bally. Start with your most interested one here, probably, which is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. So, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, a game that I now, of course, as we all know, have always loved Metroid Prime. It's one of my favourite games ever. We all know this. It's the history of the podcast.
But now with mouse controls.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think this game is going to be great. I do. I think it's going to be amazing looking, amazing sounding. I'm a little concerned, personally, about the controls and the way that they have them set up. Just because it gives me flashbacks to when I tried to play Prime Trilogy on the Wii, and I ran into the situation of, okay, there's a lock-on, but also I have gyro aiming and motion controls, so like it doesn't really function in the way I want it to because there's a lock-on, but also that exists, right? And the way that fixed it for me was, Metro Prime Remastered, where they had, like, you just play with a Pro Controller and it's fine, and you just don't have to deal with any of that shit. And this very well could be the case. The problem is, I have not yet played this game with a Pro Controller, and I don't know if it's ever been demoed with a Pro Controller yet, because they're trying to push the Joy-Con and mouse and all that sort of stuff together. And I don't personally love split Joy-Cons as a way of controlling games. Couple of issues with it. Number one, the gyro was turned on by default. And so when I was trying to use twin sticks, the gyro was getting in the way because I was moving my hand as I was trying to do it. And I was like, oh, this is really fucking annoying because I can't really test like the twin stick setup because fucking gyro is getting in the way. And I went to the menu, I turned gyro settings down to like 0 sensitivity, and it seemed like that stopped it, but I still wasn't sure. It's one of those games where like I feel like I need to be in an environment where I can just like adjust my sensitivity a bit better just to hone it in for my personal taste. But in that kind of demo environment, it's a little tricky to do just because there's not that many options in the menu and you don't really know what you're doing and you just want to play the demo so you don't waste time, essentially. So there's that aspect to it. Then there's the mouse, and the mouse works, but also felt like there was something off about it in the sense of the sensitivity. And again, it's one of those things where at home I would like to have it in a controlled environment where I can make sure the mouse is tuned to what I like.
No settings on the demo, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. And so it's very difficult to like tune it to what you want. And so there was this situation of like, well, the gyro and the mouse at the same time, and it was messing up, and it didn't feel very smooth for me trying to play it. So I think it ultimately comes down to the environment I played it in and the settings and being able to tweak them. But I do have hope. I think my concern is, so the boss of the demo, so you'll have seen this, Bally, from the Treehouse. It was the same demo as they had at the fucking Switch event where all the press went to, and the one that they showed off at the Treehouse, which is you go through the opening of the game, shooting a bunch of guys, and you eventually get to a boss, and you fight the boss. And the boss has these kind of glowing weak points, right? He has like 4 globules on him. And what happens is if you lock on, you then have to adjust your aim either with the mouse or with the analog stick still to aim at the specific point. And I think that's where my concern comes in of like, okay, well, if this was Prime 1, you would be able to lock onto each individual nodule and not have to like micro aim. And so that's where I'm scared, Bally, because if it controls like that the whole way through, I don't know that I'm going to like this game anymore, because control is such an important thing for me with Metroid Prime. And they nailed it with Prime Remastered. I just hope that they have a setting in there that is like, hey, did you play Prime Remastered? Hey, here's just the controls like that. Okay, go do that now.
I'd be shocked if they didn't have two settings in there. One that does feel like Prime Remastered. And I'd go as far as to say I'd be shocked if they don't have a setting in there that feels like the original Prime and Prime 2.
Right.
Like, I still think that whole weird, janky, this is how we're going to do a control system with one analog stick feeling game is kind of fundamental to the original Prime as much as it did evolve for that remaster. I still think that that's a big part of those first two games. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm intrigued to. I think I'll replay that. I'll just run around that first area, that first thing, trying every single control method and trying to really feel what feels right, because I might have one idea in my head what feels right, but I just need to try it myself, like you're saying, with compared to this demo. You just need to try it in your own living room and go from there.
Exactly. So what I did find with the boss was that it was actually a lot easier to take him out by using mouse controls versus using the analog stick, because if you're locking on and then you're trying to micro adjust the gun aim with the analog stick, the sensitivity just doesn't feel like it's there for it. So I actually fought the boss with mouse control, and that felt like the best way to do it, which I thought was quite interesting. So when the mouse control works, it does work really nicely for those micro adjustments. So it's like, oh, okay, this feels very smooth, and like it makes sense. It does take your brain to get used to it, because there's a phase in the boss fight where you have to jump over a thing, and so you have to press the jump button, which is now on the side of the Joy-Con because you're holding it like a mouse, and then you also have to turn into a morph ball, and you then have to press another button on the controller that turns you into a morph ball. So yeah, a little bit funky to get used to, but I do think that there's going to be a lot of people who play this game with just mouse control all the way through, because it does feel like it has been tuned and built to play that way, which is great. I want to play it with a Pro Controller and see how that feels, and if I'm happy with that, I'll probably just go with that for the rest of the game. If not, then maybe I'll just go with mouse mode and just do some adjustments and make sure the settings are all good. So yeah, I think that's probably what I'm going to do for Prime 4. But yeah, I mean, not much to say about the demo. It's the same demo we've seen. It looks fucking amazing, looks really, really cool, runs flawlessly, extremely smoothly. It's going to be a very visually pleasing video game, as
coming
you would expect.
December?
I don't know, man. Like, the rumors of Nintendo Direct in September feel like I think it's gonna be in November. It might be November like 18th or something, Black Friday. I think it might be their Black Friday game, because Pokemon got announced as October, I think. Did it? Or maybe Pokemon got a November release date.
I think one between October and November. I think one is Kirby and one is Pokemon. That's why some people have thought that Metroid might be December.
Right.
But I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe Kirby's hardly big enough to need to get out the way for. I don't know. But
yeah. Maybe.
How was Kirby?
Should we talk about Kirby?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Kirby? Kirby Air Rider. So, Bally, did you watch the presentation, the Sakurai Direct?
I did not watch the 45-minute presentation. I will go back at some point and watch probably Giant Bomb or someone talk over it and have some fun.
I also have not watched it, although I kind of have watched it because they were playing it while you're standing in line to play Kirby Air Riders. So, yeah, it was just on the television, yeah. So this is the wildest fucking demo I've ever played at an event.
What?
The demo was, I think, 35 minutes long. I was standing there for like so fucking long. Here's how it's set up. So basically, they let you in and they're like, right, we're going to do 4 things. We're going to run you through the tutorial. Then we're going to run you through the copy abilities tutorial. Then you're going to do city trial. Then you're going to do a minigame. Then you're going to do city trial again. Then you're going to do another minigame. It is insane, the amount of stuff that is available, and the people were being apologetic. They're like, oh, sorry, we can't do the full like thing because it would take an hour. And I'm like, oh, this is already like 4 times longer than any demo at any event. Like, Sakurai is a lunatic. So basically, the tutorial is a 10-step tutorial, okay? You have 10 steps. This is for a game that has 2 buttons, by the way. A 10-step tutorial. The first step of the tutorial is about turning around corners, and it's like, use the analog stick. And literally, I shit you not, Bally, you go around this corner like 6 separate times, and each time it's like, oh, now we're going to slow down time. Go around the corner while you're slowing down time. Oh, now we're going to do it at regular speed. It is, I would say, insufferable as a tutorial. Like, it is just way too overboard in terms of trying to get you to understand what's going on. There is a lot going on, but it feels like it is so overtuned and it takes forever. And so you go through and you just learn all the steps of Kirby Air Riders and what you're supposed to do. And so it's like, okay, you're turning, and then you can hold this button, and you can kind of drift around a corner, but it also charges the boost. You can go on rails. It's like, okay, great, and it's just teaching you all this stuff. And then you do a race at the end of it, so you have a first race. Then you learn, so you literally go through every copy ability in the game. So it's like, this is the bomb. You hold this down for a long period of time to throw it. Now this one is the chef's hat or whatever. It's like, it's every fucking one it goes through. And then you do City Trial. Now, City Trial, Bal, I don't know if you know much about it. It is basically a mode that Sakurai turned into something in Smash Brothers, which was Smash Run from 3DS Smash, I think.
Yeah,
which is the mode that I think we both don't really like because it's just...
pretty uninspiring mode in Smash Brothers.
Yeah. So what you do is you just like run around and collect things, you know? It's like, oh, here's like a fire, here's a thing with a symbol, it's like a clock, and you just like, you have no idea what any of these fucking things mean. They're all like meaningless. It's like stickers, you know? It's like, it's all meaningless shit. And it's like, well, if you collect enough of them, then you get more powerful or whatever, but there's no way to like really understand it. It's so fucking incomprehensible. So you just end up like running around collecting whatever and then just trying to kill people. So that mode apparently originated from Kirby Air Riders because that's what City Trial was, which is basically an open arena. You just float around and collect random things, the icons, and those get added together, and then you can also like get on different vehicles and throw items at people. It's like, it feels like a fighting game, racing game in an arena, brawler, party, just nonsense. And I just really don't think it's that interesting at all. I think it is just chaos, and it just feels pointless. I don't know, you like run around, you just collect stuff, and you don't even know what you're doing half the time because like things are just exploding, and it's like, I got this item, what do I do? Okay, I can kind of hit that person, but they're going so fast that I can't even see them, and it's I don't know, it's messy. It's very messy, and it's the main thing they're pushing is like the main game mode of this game. Yeah, like, I barely raced in this game. This game called Kirby Air Riders, which ostensibly is a racing game, barely did any racing. It was mostly focused on City Trial, and that's the thing that they're pushing, is like, this is the thing. Now, I know there's lots of people out there who love City Trial, grew up with it on the original GameCube game, blah, blah, blah. It's like, maybe as a kid, if I played Kirby Air Riders as a kid, we would have had a fun time with this, right? Because we're stupid children.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not stupid children anymore, and so it just doesn't work. I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, it was fun, I guess, but like, could I see myself playing this more? No, there's no way. So yeah, I think it was good in the fact that I'm like, well, I'm not buying Kirby Air Riders. I think that's pretty confirmed. But also, like, the racing is there, but it seems like quite undervalued and not a thing that they're really focusing on. And I do wonder, like, how fleshed out will that side of it be, because there's not a lot of it on display at the moment.
I think it's going to be 7s or maybe even 6s.
Oh yeah, I don't know, it's really hard to say. I definitely think that there are some sickos out there who really do like it and who just enjoy. I do think there's probably depth to City Trial. There probably is a lot of that stuff. I just don't care to learn it, and I don't think it's that interesting for me personally. So there will definitely be defenders, but I don't see it. I really don't. It feels to me like Sakurai wanted to make this game because he wanted to just go back to this series that he really likes, and it almost feels like a remake of the original game in the sense that it doesn't seem like there's a huge amount new, and it's basically him just making the perfect version that he wasn't able to make on GameCube. But even the perfect version of Kirby Air Ride, I think, is just not something I really ever want. So it's cool that it exists. It's weird to put it out in the same year as Mario Kart, but hey, at least now he can go work on Smash Brothers, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, not a huge fan of Kirby Air Riders. I think it will be for a crowd, but I don't think that's us. I don't think we're the people for Kirby Air Riders, unfortunately. So
Fair enough.
yeah, bit of a shame, but that one definitely didn't impress me. Then the third big one is Pokemon ZA, Legend ZAR, as they're calling it. So
you're a big fan of
Arceus. Yes. I think Arceus is probably the best Pokemon game in the last decade. If we're talking about single player Pokemon stuff, very interesting.
No, you're wrong. It's new Pokemon Snap.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, apologies. Yeah. God, I really did not get on with Pokemon Snap. But Arceus, yeah, I think is definitely up there for me. This one I was just not very interested in, and the reason why is because it's set in a city. And I liked Arceus because it was like it was a throwback. It was like, this is hundreds of years ago, and you before the history of Sinnoh, and it's like, go and explore these wild areas where Pokemon who like hadn't evolved at this point existed and stuff like that. So it was just very cool. It was very well constructed, and it felt like a great palette for exploration, right? Like those areas were large enough to where you could explore them thoroughly and find different Pokemon, and like it felt like the loop was really, really well honed. And ZAR got announced, and I was like, I just don't feel the same way about a city. It's the reason that I never really click with GTA games. I prefer The Witcher or Skyrim to a fucking Saints Row or GTA, because I just don't really care for a city setting. Something about it is not very enticing to me from an exploration standpoint.
But if you can visually only make right angles in your games, you might as well do a cityscape rather than a landscape.
Right, yeah, that's true. So I guess that's what they decided. But so when I saw this, I was like, well, okay, that's cool, I guess, but I'm not that interested. And I think, so they did talk about the combat system and stuff in the most recent Pokemon Direct, but I wasn't really paying attention, because what happened was they announced Pokemon Champions. Well, they already had announced Pokemon Champions, but they did like a trailer on it, and they were like, and also you can just put the stats in. And so I'm just like losing my mind over here, being like, Nintendo just made Pokemon Showdown real. And so I was like looking online and trying to find out like, how do I do this? And Pokemon Champions battle, I'm just going to tell you, next year is going to get dangerous for me, because this is the way that they get me back into competitive Pokemon. It's like, now I can just put the numbers in, now I don't have to breed or do any of that shit. It's over. It's so fucking over. So anyway, I was obsessing over that, so I didn't really get to watch the combat stuff. So I got to play that as part of this demo at Gamescom, and it's very interesting. Like, definitely got me curious about playing this game, because the combat is totally different. So traditional Pokemon battles, they're turn-based, right? You are waiting there, my turn, your turn, blah, blah, blah. In this game, it is active. So you throw a Pokemon out there, and you can lock on to another Pokemon with like your shoulder button, and then you have your 4 moves on screen, but they have cooldowns. So you press a button and it's like, do water gun, and so you do it, and then it has like a 4-5 second cooldown until you can use water gun again. But you can also just hot swap your Pokemon. So if your Pokemon has moves and they are all on cooldown, you can swap them out for another one like in real time. So it is the most real time combat that Pokemon has ever had, and it feels very good. Like, it feels quite smooth and quite intuitive, in the sense that, like, okay, I'm fighting Spearow. Okay, I need, like, something with electric attack. Okay, I'm going to switch to my Pikachu. Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. Great, that took it out. Oh, shit, they've sent out this thing. Okay, I'm going to swap back in. And it's all happening on the fly in real time. There's no downtime. It's all cooldowns. And I'm like, did they, like, talk to Monolith Soft or something? Because there's a little bit of Xenoblade in this combat, which I'm like, that's interesting. It's very curious. It's definitely like taking cues from MMOs as well, in the sense that cooldowns are a thing that's very much associated with that genre, and Pokemon doing it and having this almost hybrid approach to the combat, very interesting, I'll say. So yeah, I was surprised by this. I was surprised that I liked it, and I definitely want to see reviews, but I might be more curious about picking up Pokemon ZAR, depending on what's coming out at that time of year and everything. But yeah, I was a bit more convinced. I'm still worried about the exploration stuff, but the combat and the changes they've made to combat are unique and interesting enough that I'm like, maybe this is a thing that I do want to check out. So yeah, that was good, because I wasn't really expecting much from it. I was like, what's this going to be, another fucking usual Pokemon game? But the combat is very, very different. So Yeah, I liked it. So yeah, those are the three big ones, Bally. There were also a couple of third-party games they had there that at that point in the morning, I'd played all of those, and all the queues were filling up for the big ones. But there was no one in line for Elden Ring, and there was no one in line for Final Fantasy VII Remake. And so I was like, well, let's do my due diligence and see how these third-party games run on Switch 2.
I've heard conflicting reports on these two games.
Yeah, totally. So Elden Ring, it's a game that I think is very ambitious, and so it's quite difficult to imagine it running amazing on a handheld like Switch, especially because FromSoft, let's be honest, are not the kings of optimization. Like, Elden Ring on PC to this day still has moments where I'll be running around the world and it will just freeze for 5 seconds and then it will just start going again, I still have that freezing issue on Elden Ring on PC. And it's also capped on PC at 60 frames. I can't put it to 120. They are in a lot of ways technically inept when it comes to optimization. So I didn't have high hopes for it. I think it's playable. I think you wouldn't want to play it on Switch 2, right? It is a little depressing because it feels like we had all this years of when Nintendo gets their next console, we won't have to worry about third-party games being bad anymore. And unfortunately, Elden Ring feels like a Switch 1 third-party game, by which I mean a bit blurry, definitely framey, not consistent, and playable certainly, but not the ideal experience. Playing Elden Ring on Steam Deck is better than playing it on Switch 2. So the frame rate is dipping down to I would guess around 25, 22-ish at times. The resolution on screen was quite fuzzy. By the way, I played both third-party games handheld because handheld is more interesting to me. I just want to see how does it run because if you're going to buy a third-party game on Switch 2, the only reason to do it is because it's handheld. Because otherwise, if you're playing on,
it's fun they give you the choice of handheld or not.
Yeah, so if you want to play on TV, you might as well play on another system. So that's why I'm always opting to try and play these demos on handheld because that's what is the most interesting to me. So yeah, you could do it totally. I know that Caroline played Witcher 3 all the way through on Switch. I think someone like her wouldn't bat an eyelid. No. Perfectly fine to play Elden Ring through. That would be no trouble.
I'm still not convinced of what frame rate is.
Right, exactly, totally. And so there are plenty of people out there like that. I think this version of Elden Ring will be totally fine for those people. For people who listen to a podcast like this, I would stay clear of it. I don't think it's the way to play it. I don't think it's going to be fixed or made better by the time it comes out. Just play it somewhere else. I think that's kind of the log line for Elden Ring. On the opposite side of the spectrum, holy shit, Remake looks good. What the fuck did Square Enix do? Who gave them... Nintendo must have given them very early dev kits for the Switch 2 because this is essentially the PS4 game running on a handheld. It's 30 frames a second locked, but it is so well frame paced. It looks smooth as hell and is gorgeous resolution-wise, just full cutscenes, everything popping off, Cloud's fucking hair, it is stunning. And I had whiplash going from Elden Ring to Final Fantasy because I was after Elden Ring, I was I guess, we're fucked, third party's never going to be able to figure it out. And then I go over and I'm basically playing a fucking PS4 handheld with Final Fantasy. Strongly recommend, if you want to play that game and you've not had a chance to on big boy consoles, this is the handheld version to play by far. It is so well optimized and good looking and felt awesome. It honestly really blew me away. I think it is maybe the best looking thing I've seen on Switch 2 to this point in time, which is kind of saying something because Mario Kart World does look amazing, so does Donkey Kong, but even at 30 frames a second, I would have no qualms about recommending 7 Remake Intergrade to people. I am a little worried about Rebirth because Rebirth had some significant issues on PS5 in terms of its resolution and its frame rate stuff, which I don't think ever really got resolved. So I think Remake, definitely because it was originally a PS4 game, is going to have a much easier time on Switch too. But fingers crossed, because I imagine they're going to bring the other games there as well, and hopefully they'll have figured something out, because it seems like they've got wizards over there who are able to get this version running pretty well. So yeah, it's looking great, and I've already played it, so I'm not going to buy it. But there's plenty of people who would have really wanted to play the remake of Final Fantasy VII and didn't have a PlayStation or didn't have a PC, and now those people can do it. And I would strongly recommend they do, because it's a banging version. So
Nice.
very impressed by what Square Enix were able
It
to
can
pull
be
off.
done. Third
Can
party
be done.
ports can be done.
Yeah, they can be done really well. So, cool. So, that is gonna be all my Gamescom business. So, Bali, I guess.
If people want to hear more about your Gamescom
Yes.
experience, where should they go?
They should go to patreon.com/ThisNintendoLife, where I will have my audio log of Gamescom and what I did there. And I'll be putting that up for folks, so go take a listen to it. There'll be some fun stuff in there. You'll hear a little bit of repetition of what I just talked about, because I gave my fresh hot takes on the games, but you'll get me on the show floor right after I played them, but also a bunch of other stuff, talking about what we did and where we were and all that stuff, and me being tired and going to bed at bad times and things like that. So yeah, go listen. It's a good fun time. And that hopefully will be up sometime this week. I'll get it edited now there. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Bali, let's transition to our big boy, Donkey Kong. You have now finished Donkey Kong
I have.
Bonanza. I have, of course, 100%ed Donkey Kong Bonanza. Have all 1,000 bananas. Curious where you're at on that.
All the records?
I did not get all the records. No, that was one of the things I decided not to do, because it was going to be way too time consuming. But yes, I got all the fossils and all the bananas. And I'm curious what your stance is and what you're going to end up wanting to do, if you do want to go back to it, or if you're just going to do the post-game challenges and then just move on, which I totally think is probably a good thing to do. I did recommend to you not to 100% it, having done it myself, but yeah,
I don't have the gaming time right now to 100% this game. I think it took me about 35 hours to beat the game with 730 bananas. So
you're pretty close, to be honest. That's getting there.
Yeah,
so.
no, I think I did quite a lot of, the bananas that you pay for, as well as exploring for the bananas. And
I would recommend, by the way, because this is something I kind of regretted on going to Germany, was I had a flight and I was like, what can I play? I brought my Steam Deck instead, because I forgot to buy a Switch 2 case still, so I had my Steam Deck. But if I had a Switch 2 case and I hadn't beaten Bananza to me feels like a game that you just want to chip away at travel and flights for the next year or so, and eventually hit that 1,000 bananas.
Okay.
Feels like a good game to go back to be like, oh, I've got nothing else to play. Okay, I'm going to play some Bananza and get some bananas and do it that way. So
I mean, I'm definitely having a break from Bananza, even to do those challenge levels if I choose to do them, because I had a couple of days off. Now, everyone has days off, but I had 2 days off and my kids were at nursery. This is gold dust when you're a parent, is to have time.
Right.
Time off with childcare is so rare that I was like, I'm gonna beat DK in this time. And so I think, what kingdom was I on at that point in time? I think I was on. I had a page up with the kingdom. Why am I saying kingdoms? I'm in the Odyssey mode of the sub layers. I think I had 3 Bananza abilities. Anyway, I thought I could beat the game. If I was like, I'm going to play 5 hours of this game today, and I'll do the same again on Tuesday, and then 10 hours later, I should have beaten the game. And I think I played my 10 hours worth, and I was still a good 6-7 hours away from the end of the game.
Yep, I told you, Bali, that this game is a lot longer than you think it's going to be.
But and I think that's what's so mad, is that even when you have the expectation that the game is going to be very long, and then it is still longer than that, that is how you can tell that it's just an insanely long game. On top of the fact that I took this game very methodically, very slowly, and I purposefully got 80.
Tried to find as many bananas as you could as you went along.
At 90% to over 90% on almost all the levels, and I even went back and 100%ed levels before I reached the end game on the first 4, 5, 6 areas. So I definitely did a lot of backtracking, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I guess before we get into the spoilers and stuff,
Yes.
what are your kind of final thoughts? Because I think you were very high on it the last time we talked about it, and I was talking about the sandwich effect of being very high, then kind of a bit more lukewarm on the middle because I consumed a lot of the middle back to back, and then very high on the ending. Be good to get your final thoughts on like the pacing and how you felt about it overall.
I don't think the quality really ever changes, honestly. Like I never had that flabby middle feeling. I accepted that, you know, I'm not going to beat this game anytime soon, and that I'm going to play it methodically, and the fun never waned, honestly. I had fun all the way through, and I think the ending is fantastic, and I remain incredibly hot on this game. Is it too long generally? You could make that argument, but it's impossible to argue how long a game should be. I think it's wild that the main line of this game is so much longer than Odyssey if you're getting a decent number of bananas, which I would recommend doing because that's kind of like a really fun part of the game. But
it also helps significantly when you get to the end, because if you do want to run through and do the post-game stuff, having a lot of bananas means you don't have to go back and get them in order just to do that, basically.
Yeah. And you definitely unlock abilities that make it easier to get certain bananas and do other things, which is also interesting if you want 100% later. But yeah, I think this is an unbelievably impressive game. I was really, really impressed on so many levels, and it's just a fantastic finale, and I absolutely love this game. I think I'm probably in the camp where I'm still slightly siding with Odyssey, but it's maybe a closer gap compared to UMVZ. I'm not sure. But I am incredibly hot on this game. I loved it. I love that DK is back in our lives. I love what they've done with this game. And yeah, let's get into some spoilers.
Yeah. Final question: Is it better than Tropical Freeze?
Ooh, I need to think on that one.
Okay.
I can't. It's a bit like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I'm a bit stuck in the middle between the two. It's very hard to compare, obviously. Yeah,
they're very different games for sure, with different goals and ideas. But
do you want a 12-hour experience or a 35-hour experience? I think it's kind of where I'm at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I'm split, and that's a rubbish answer. All right, that's how I'm feeling.
Split like a banana. So let's get into spoilers on Donkey Kong. If you have not beaten Donkey Kong, then go away, never come back. Or do come back when you've finished Donkey Kong. Or if you just don't care, then just listen to us talk about everything that happens in the back half of Donkey Kong Bananza. We can talk about the Bananzas, I guess, because a couple of them were spoiled as part of the direct that happened that I know you didn't watch.
Yes.
But I knew about the Bananzas going into it, so I definitely had some kind of ideas of like what was going to happen. But
so here's a funny story about that. I avoided the direct, so I didn't know about any of the Bananzas. And then Bally Jr. got obsessed with Donkey Kong Bonanza briefly. We'll get back to it at some point, but he had like a period of just running around the house being a gorilla for days, shouting bananas. Bananas. And part of that meant that he would be on his phone watching some YouTube Kids, and he'd say, "Oh, I want to watch Donkey Kong." So I looked up like Donkey Kong Bonanza on his phone, and sure enough, like there was this thumbnail with a bunch of different animals, and I can't. What's weird is my brain is like it was just a bunch of different animals, and I can't actually think what animals they were. But obviously, those animals, looking back, were Bonanzas. But I never saw the Bonanzas in action. I can't even remember to this day what those animals were. Now, obviously, it's clear to me it was like an ostrich, snake, etc. But yes, I kind of slightly dodged a bullet there, but that's kind of I did discover each Bonanza on its own and was never spoiled. I was only ever spoiled in this game, honestly, on King K. Rool, and that was just
side tangent, by the way.
Yes.
Side tangent. Have you discovered the Nintendo Kids YouTube channel where it's like Let's Plays from like these people who are pretending to be like a father and daughter, and they're playing together like games? Have you found this? Because it's like a Nintendo Kids channel, basically.
No, I'm sure it's within the YouTube Kids app, so I will try and find that, because I think that is going to be something Bally Jr. gets very into, honestly, is Let's Plays. Right. He just enjoys watching video games, it seems.
Interesting. Yeah, so I came across it somehow, but it was like, it's a Nintendo officially sanctioned channel where they have Let's Plays of Nintendo games with these like people who are obviously trying to talk to kids and like play games with kids watching, basically. which is very interesting. So
I know that Nintendo have just launched the first 3 shorts of their new It's Me Mario stop motion animation that they're trying to hook more kids in with. So I could try and show Bally Jr. that as well.
Yeah, all the, I don't know if the Pikmin shorts are there, but the channel is called Play Nintendo. It has 825,000 subscribers, and they've got a Let's Play of Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's 20 minutes long. So it's called Gameplay for Kids. Let's Play Donkey Kong Bonanza. So get on the Play Nintendo channel, and let them watch some of that, because that's. Seems like a smart way to do it, because always with Let's Players, it's like, well, are they kid-friendly? It's hard to vet them, all that sort of stuff, right? So the fact that Nintendo have kind of like done their own thing, I think is very smart.
I've even bumped into some fake, like, gory Nintendo stuff on the YouTube Kids stuff. And it's like, oh god, this is bad.
That is very rough. That's very rough.
Like Olimar, like chopping up a Pikmin and things. I was like, oh god, what's he doing to that Pikmin? It's like, god.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get to that.
So yeah, that's there. That exists. I guess like the Bonanzas. That's the whole kind of gimmick of this game. There is a correct answer for the best and worst Bonanza. So yeah, I mean, Elephant is the king, of course. Elephant is the best Bonanza by far.
Elephant is just brings a smile to your face every time you use it. I think it's
just so satisfying.
It's so anti-Nintendo to even have this in the game, for a game that is based around destruction, and then you have this other level of destruction that the elephant can just get out, and you can destroy entire stages in such short spaces of time. It just feels so game-breaking in a very satisfying way, and especially when you need some extra gold, or you're just hunting like those little blue dudes that you need to find 4 of them. It's very fun to just destroy the stage to find those guys, or get money, or find bananas. Like, it's just pure fun. It's easily the best Bonanza, and I loved every moment of it. Yeah,
it's definitely it's also the one that you have to use when you're grinding in the end game, because so there's the racing layer, and in the racing layer there's a giant cup made of gold.
Yes.
And that is where I just basically parked myself for many hours at a time and just grinded gold.
It's quite a 2-dimensional. You think that it's made of more gold than it actually is. I find.
Yeah, it's hollow in the center, so it's less gold than you would ideally want, but it's still pretty effective. I did find later in the game, so there's a challenge area in the food layer, which is one where you can get Banandium chips and also a lot of gold at the same time. And so at the end, when I needed like 5,400 Banandium chips, I just ran that level again and again for like 2 hours, and that allowed me to get
2 hours.
Yes, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that's you only get like 20 Vanadium chips per run of that level, and it takes I don't know.
What if you got the tie that doubles them?
Actually, I think it might give you a bit more if you have the tie. But if you can do that in like 30 seconds flat, and you just reset and just keep doing it again and again and again, and that's how long it will take for you to get enough Banandium chips to buy out all the rest of the bananas from the store, and then also you get gold alongside that, so it's better to do that grinding technique, because you get Banandium chips and gold at the same time instead of doing them separately. So I definitely recommend people to do that, and it's I think it's the challenge area like right near the beginning of the feast level. So yeah, that was how I effectively got through. So that was actually using the monkey Bonanza, the first one you get, because you can just smash through. It's the wall guys who basically try and fall on you. It's a bunch of those, so you just smash through them, and cool. you get all the stuff you need. But yeah, I think that's a good Bonanza. I think the weakest ones are probably Zebra is cool, but it's very, very situational. It's like, okay, do I have platforms that I need to be fast on? Then I'm just going to be Zebra. Otherwise, Zebra feels a little useless. I didn't really use it that much. Ostrich is helpful for traversal, of just like, I need to get across here, I need a little bit extra height. So Ostrich was definitely helpful, probably like number 3 in terms of usefulness, I'd say. And then the worst by far, Nintendo, not content with Spring Mario being in his own universe and galaxy, were like, oh, well, how about we bring that idea back?
We're gonna give us Snake arms.
yeah, we're near. It just doesn't work. So Snake is definitely the worst. I think it's there's also, I don't know if you did any of this challenge areas that make you use the slow down eyeball stuff as well as the
No, I've not done that at all.
Okay.
No.
because there are some challenging ones later on that require you to have the slowdown going constantly, basically, and it's just a pain in the ass. It's just not fun, basically. I think those are the least fun areas, I would say.
Okay.
And just the snake generally, like it can be helpful definitely to get up to places, but look, it's better than the spring in Mario Galaxy, because spring in Mario Galaxy was just constantly bouncing and you couldn't like stand still. At least with this one you can stand still and move, but it's just not. It just doesn't feel great, and I don't know why they brought it back. But
I really enjoyed the spring in Mario Galaxy, honestly. Like, I think it was quirky.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it worked because levels were built around it, and so you had the challenge. It was still annoying to use, but at least they had the thing. Here it's just like, oh, you're just gonna boing around everywhere, and then you can also stop time or freeze time or slow it down for some reason. The abilities didn't seem great on the snake, basically. So definitely the least favorite for me. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any like layers, any favorite areas that you went to, Ballet, that you really stood out to you?
I think that the resort lair was very cool, and I
love that place. The fucking giant watermelon, so satisfying to punch through the watermelon.
They definitely got the Pikmin 3 juice experts in for that level.
They did, yeah.
I think one thing I really loved about this game was the little rest stops where what they call the stalactites, what those dudes called?
I don't even remember. Fractones.
The fractone who just like carves out a hole in the wall and then it becomes like a little bed for you to chill out.
A little hub area, yeah.
What I love about this game is there are certain ones of those where they purposefully drill through the wall, and then there's a vista on the other side, so it's like an actual like little hotel room with a view kind of thing. Now there's some in like the more like I think the elephant level with the Tempest lair? Yeah, Tempest lair.
Yeah, it's where all the rain is happening.
Yeah, like there are certain more built-in levels where they might dig through a hole and there's just lava on the other side or something. But I think the ones where you might be up high and there's like a view on the other side, really cool little nice way to use some of the nice views in this game, because I think there's a lot of visually very stunning aspects to it. Those things just made me really appreciate it. And having a resort level where it's just water and there's beach and you can just see for miles, like it's just like really nice. And I think what's also cool about the resort lair is it's the first introduction of like that rainbow material that you...
Yes.
This took me like a few... Because I traditionally, on every single lair I went to, I would kind of go against the run of play, as it were. I'd go exploring before I would kind of speak to fractones and go to the more hub-like areas of each world. So I was like experiencing the rainbow stuff long before there was anyone telling me about it. And it's weird because it's rainbow-like, and it's got like the kind of... It's like energy shooting upwards from it. I'm like, okay, there's something vertical going on with this thing, but I can't even work out what it is. And I would smash it and dig through it, and the one thing I wouldn't do was pick it up. And then before I picked it up, I was smashing those dudes that create the rainbows.
Right, just to create like the bridge, essentially.
These are insane. And then I think I was running across one of the bridges and like accidentally like picked up a bit. I was like, oh my, like that was the kind of moment that I felt that I wanted a little bit more of with this game. Where
Agreed.
It was like a real, wow, this is like a bizarre, cool new mechanic. And it actually reminded me a little bit, if you remember, there's the first time you see Mario's nipples in Mario Odyssey and he's got a swim shorts out. And there's that area, and there's like there's those gusher things, and it basically you have like incredible diagonal speed and you can jump, and it's a bit like the turbo nozzle a bit in Mario Sunshine, but made in a
because you fight the boss with it in the sky as well.
Exactly.
The octopus guy.
Like this ability just kind of reminded me of that. It was like a real wow, this is reinvented traversal in a cool way in a resort beach style area, and I didn't get that. I'd say the other areas I got that feeling was very briefly on, let's say, like the Forbidden Lair, where you kind of you're given those spaces between areas, and you find out that you're meant to just literally lob rocks, and the rocks create paths that you can then run on. Like that's a cool feeling.
Yes, yeah. It just creates out of nothing, basically.
Yeah, and then other than that, maybe something like the which was
the seed in the forest level,
the forest lair. And that's one area where if this game had something like those three examples on every single level, it really would be on a par with Odyssey in terms of creativity. And I do believe you don't need the capture mechanic to reinvent Odyssey's creativity, because if you have the levels that have the abilities in them, like these 3 examples, I think that's where the juice is. And then you can keep Donkey Kong smashing everything the way he does in the whole of this game. Like, I think that's just the level of magic that this team has that I just wanted a little more of, I think.
Agreed. Yeah, I definitely think that. I think the other thing about it is because these levels are significantly longer than Kingdoms, like they are 3 times the size often because they are three sub-layers to each like major level. And so the seed thing is cool
on the main ones, the big ones, because there's a lot of little
the main
ones,
yeah. There's the small, like the racing layer and stuff like that. But
really underutilized that racing layer, by the way. We can get to it.
Yeah, like when I got there, I was so excited. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!"
There's going to be like 30 bananas here, and I'm going to be here racing, and then it's going to reappear later in the game, and we're going to race some more. And then it's like, nope, you get one rating anyway. But yeah, poor decision.
Yeah, totally. So I do think that the seed thing is cool, but it's like, okay, but it doesn't really sustain through like 3 sub-layers of this area. And like, imagine if each of those sub-layers had their own evolving forest-themed mechanic that, you know, was unique. Like, then you would keep the pacing up of it. But it just feels like the levels are too big and last too long for the surprise to be impactful, you know? The surprise is impactful, and then you're waiting quite a long time to get to another world to get another surprise, right? And I think, I think that's what it fundamentally comes down to. Odyssey is like I think the phrase I used before was relentless creativity. It's like fucking relentless, that game. And Donkey Kong has a lot of it. It's not relentless. I wouldn't describe it that way. It's like there's a lot of stuff here, and I would say it's just relentless in terms of the number of things you can find, but not in terms of
the length is relentless.
The length is relentless. Not in terms of the unique elements of the game that kind of give it that juice, that kind of je ne sais quoi, that thing that elevates it to the top tier of like surprise, you know, and delight. Nintendo loves surprise and delight. So.
That is something, made the Tropical Freeze comparison earlier. I think that's something where I do think Tropical Freeze feels paced more similarly to Mario Odyssey, actually, where you
100%.
do have new ideas coming in. And really interesting. We had a discussion when you were up in Edinburgh before DK came out, and we discussed some predictions. So I said to you, right, are there going to be more references for like the original Donkey Kong arcade game or the Donkey Kong Country games? And you sided with the arcade game. And
100%,
I definitely thought there'd be more country references. And I think the game probably had more country references overall.
It's by far more country. Like, the entire ending of this game is like a love letter to Rare, essentially.
Yes.
Like, it's kind of crazy the extent to which they take it. But it is undoubtedly to me that the team that worked on this are a team of younger developers who grew up playing the Super Nintendo era Donkey Kong Country games.
I think what I found really disappointing, and what I love about Tropical Freeze is Tropical Freeze had so many, not just minecart levels, but reinventions of minecart levels. So, for example, there's a level in Tropical Freeze where it's like a wood saw mill kind of thing, and you're in this log boat thing, and it changes and gets chopped up, and then you go in water, then you're underwater, then you're jumping, and then it gets chopped up again. And like, I was shocked that there weren't more, not that there were more 2D levels, that the minecart was used so frequently in this game as just a means to get from A to B, and there was like a small amount of like more action-based minecart stuff. And maybe it's because this game is clearly skewing to a bit of a younger audience, especially younger probably than Mario Odyssey. I just wanted like some challenging, action-busting minecart levels in this game, and you could do like some really cool 3D things with the minecart levels. I was just surprised there wasn't more of that, personally.
Yeah, I think like the minecart is used mainly in the 3rd layer, which is the canyon one.
Layer, yeah.
And they just don't go very far with it, right?
No.
Like, they have it and it's there for extended periods, but they never push it to an interesting degree or really make you do anything super challenging with it. And I think, generally speaking, the game is very, very easy, and I think that's by design. Like, I think that's kind of what they want to do. I do wish that there was more challenge to it in some areas, if there were more like sub-levels that were even more difficult. The post-game definitely adds a bit more of that, but I just don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough for the level of challenge that I'm often seeking in these Nintendo 3D platformers. And again, we can have that discussion of whether DK even is a 3D platformer, because most of it is just punching things and destroying the environment and exploring the space, but it does feel like we are getting further and further away from, like, you know, the end of Galaxy 2 has one of the hardest levels in a 3D Mario game, right? Like, it is... We still haven't beaten it. Is that fucking difficult? It's so hard. And, like, there's nothing in this game nothing in this game that even comes close to the final level in Odyssey, to be honest with you, right? Like, the final Odyssey level definitely took me, like, maybe an hour and a half or so of just practice and going through and challenging myself. I've 100% of this game. There is nothing even remotely close to that level of challenge, which I think is a bit of a shame, because I do think that for people who go all the way through with these types of Nintendo games, they're usually given an ultimate, like, here's the thing that's really going to test you, and yeah, they don't really have that.
That's surprising,
which is,
yeah.
Unfortunate, I would say. So,
Interesting.
Yeah, other layers, Bally, that you were a fan of, aside from the resort? Any other ones that stood out?
I really enjoy the early vibes of, like, the lagoon layer and the hilltop layer. I think those, vibes-wise, are just, like, very nice beginning level layers. I think the both the Radiance layer, where you get the snake ability, as well as the Tempest layer with the elephant, I think those were just really cool. Like, I think they were just really, like, unexpected. Like, the elephants were all in the spa, and there's lava, and you then get an ability,
kind of the melding of fire and water.
Yeah, well. And, like, so when I first got the elephant ability, I thought it was an ability to suck lava, and I hadn't fully realized that it sucks everything. Like, it's right, a way of clearing lava. You can clear this, you can clear that. So that was very cool to discover. And then the snake layer is just very strange, where they have, like, this synthetic light they create, and then there's, like, all these levels where the light makes, and then there's enemies that react to light and some that react to shade.
Right, the crab guys that you have to basically bait them into it in order to like turn them into material.
It's a cool mechanic. A little bit frustrating and fiddly at points, but, like, I just think it was a cool idea. And again, both these levels I don't think are deserving of. They don't need to be 3 levels long, as you said. Totally. I don't think any of them arguably deserve to be 3 levels long. And they all could have been just a little bit leaner, but, you know, this game wanted to be 35 hours for some reason, and it definitely fulfills that. And like I said, I never got bored or tired, but I still have a feeling that they were arguably too long. But
I guess on that point, like, part of what I was talking to you about was, like, the decision of, like, what layers went where. And I think the best example of this is the feast layer, where all the food is, and you build a giant burger and all that sort of stuff.
It's a very strong layer.
Strong layer. Like, the problem is, by the time I got there, I was just like, I want to finish the game. Like, it's like, I don't want to do another really long 3-layer level, and it presents you with another really long 3-layer level, and I just, if that had come...
I'm not sure it's 3 layers. I think that one might be 2 layers.
Maybe 2, but it's a big one, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's because it's not an ability layer, as it were.
No, you don't get a Bananza from it, basically. But it just goes on for a long time, and I thought it was cool, but I was more in the brain space of, I just want to get to the end. I just want to finish. I just want to go and be at the final part of this game. And if that food layer had come, like, as World 4 maybe, or as a World 7, then, like, maybe it would have worked. Like, imagine if the split in the road had been ice and food instead of ice and forest, because ice and forest are very generic types of levels, you know. It's like, okay, you do things here and it's all going to be like, there's a poison swamp, and this one's a snowy area, and yes, you have the Ostrich Hotel, and yes, you have, like, the mixing of the snow and the fire and stuff like that.
Snow and the fire was cool.
That's cool. But I do think that fundamentally they are just biomes, you know, like, in the traditional way of we say biomes, it's like, well, it's grass and it's ice, great. And I think food is cool and fun and weird, and if you throw that in early, I think it alleviates some of the problems in terms of the pacing of the surprise of the levels, basically.
It definitely could have been earlier. It was one of those levels, I think you had said, all right, Valley, I think you've got one more long level, and I was like, okay. So I kind of went in knowing there was one more long level, and when I got there, I thought, oh, I do kind of want to go to the end. And I said, I'm just going to see how I feel. And then I started playing the feast layer, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, well, I've got 80% of the bananas. And I just kind of, that kept happening to me every layer I went to.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to beat the game, but I always gave the game a chance of, can this game do enough to hook me, and I'll just get some bananas and then move on. And it always did. And I do think the game deserves a lot of credit for that in terms of like pacing, in terms of like the beat to beat of what you're doing is just so fun. You can just turn on your Switch and just jump in and play lots and get lots of bananas. And I just kept doing that time after time after time. And I thought to myself, I don't think I'm going to do the post game for now. Like, I might do that later in the year. I don't know. So my decision then became, I'm just going to get as many bananas as I can. And then when I see credits, I'm just going to put the game down and call it a day for now. And I think I came to that realization a bit before the feast layer. And I think it just made me a bit more chill about the final game. It was just like, I'm just going to take it in. I don't have to 100%. I'm just trying to get all the bananas I can, which was up to this point still quite a high percentage. And I think it made me feel a bit more positive about the ending and its length, and rather than racing to the final boss and beating that and kind of job done, tick the box.
No, that's good, and I definitely see that, because like I said, it's a game where it's very hard to put it down. Like, there's so much dopamine just being fucking injected in every second of the game, of like, you're just like punching, and you just like, it's very hard to stop, and pull yourself away from it. So I think like I mentioned before, you definitely played it in more ideal circumstances, which is taking more time over a long period of time, slower, and therefore not getting, I would say, more burned out. And I think that's why, people like VGC had a similar feeling of like, okay, it has a bit of a quote unquote flabby middle, just because it's kind of, there's a lot to get through to get to the end, basically.
If you're getting a decent number of bananas, it's hard to beat this game in like under 25 hours, I'd argue. Like,
absolutely.
It's long. Right. And that's very different to Odyssey.
Yeah, we did discuss, however, the idea of it took us 50 hours to 100% Odyssey. My 100%, I'm still at 45 hours in Bananza. So, like, weirdly,
I reckon I would probably be close to 45 if I go for the 100%.
Yeah, I think you would. And like, it's strange that like, it has actually the 100% shorter than Odyssey, but way longer for the main path. Which, I don't know what that says, but it's just a very interesting observation. That is the case. Yeah.
I've got a statement to make.
Okay, so let's make a statement.
I think we're agreed Via Teme is the song of the year, song of the century.
It is, yes.
Fantastic song from Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Mm-hmm. Everyone should listen to it. I must say that I do think Breaking Through by Jenny Kidd is maybe the number 2 of the year. It's such a banger. I absolutely love it. The ending song.
So I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. Yeah, I thought it was. I like this trend of Nintendo doing vocal tracks in their games, because it's something that they never used to do. And I think it started with Jump Up Superstar in Odyssey, and you could argue that ARMS has it with the work, but it's not even like, there's no lyrics to it. But Nintendo have started to do more of like having actual vocal tracks in their big games, and I'm glad that this one was here as well, because I thought it was very good.
It's so much stronger than the Odyssey one, because the Odyssey's got both Jump Up Superstar in the middle of the game, and then its final song, I think I messaged you, I've forgotten the name of it, but I think it's called Breakthrough, and then the one in DK is called Breaking Through, but the DK one, Breaking Through, is so much stronger than Break Free, I think, is one in Odyssey. It's a real pop banger, and I think it's a real thing that I think this game has over Odyssey, and that's heart. Like, I think that Pauline, in and of herself, and her relationship with DK, there's not much narrative here. I'm not trying to say it's meaningful.
No, but it's like, I really do appreciate the like you were saying, you go to the rest areas, and like every time you've got a little conversation between DK and Pauline, and
it's chill. It's nice.
Yeah.
And it just adds so many chill vibes in a way that Mario and Cappy cannot because they are silent.
No.
And like,
yeah, exactly.
let's just put this little American girl on the back of DK, and she's gonna say things here and there that are very cute, very quaint. She's gonna comment on what she sees, and then she's gonna sing a big banger at the end of it. Like, it's really, really nice, and I think works well.
And also, like, all the Bananza songs are really good as well.
Yes,
every Bananza song is like, oh yeah, this is a fucking bop. Like,
they mix the Kong Bananza into Breaking Through. Like, it's submixed into it. It's so good.
Nice.
And, like, this is me as a Donkey Kong 1 fan. You'd think that I'd be celebrating like Gangplank Galleon. That's obviously the big remix song from Donkey Kong Country 1, but which is great that that's in here. Very cool. We can talk about the finale in a second, but like, this song Breaking Through is just it was an emotional, and I loved it. And maybe they did that. That's why they made the game so long, so that everyone would have this emotional feeling with this song at the end. They'd be like, oh my god, I made it. That was an incredibly long game. But it's a banger, and it's part of like I said, it's just a lot of heart that I think this game has over Odyssey, which I think is very cool.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, should we talk about that ending?
Yes.
The whole thing. So I had zero idea going into this. I was like...
But you did not recognize the golden belly.
No, so I was just... So basically, I didn't know when this game was going to fucking end, basically. Because I had not looked anything up. I had no context. I was like, the layers keep going and going. And I was like, got to the forbidden layer, and, you know, the whole sky with all the throwing the rocks and it creates platforms. I'm like, this seems like an end game thing. And also, like I mentioned to you in the lead up, they ask you for gold. It's like 17,000 gold you need to pay in order to like gate your way through the ending. And I'm like, well, this is a real ending check. It's like, this is the final area. They're going to ask me to go get money, and I'm going to get through, and I'm going to fight Void Kong, and that's going to be credits, and that's going to be the end of the game. And I don't know, maybe we'll go to New Donk City and that's a level, right? My thought was like, maybe New Donk City is like the final area and we get to run around it as DK, and it's the same New Donk City as in Odyssey. That's what I was kind of thinking. It's like, it's going to be the same as...
Had you heard anyone go wild about the ending on the internet before you got to the end?
I think I had, yeah. I think I had heard positive sentiment about it. And so I was thinking, like, okay, it's going to be like the Mushroom Kingdom at the end of Odyssey, and we're going to get there, and there's going to be a costume of Donkey Kong 64 costume, and you're going to be able to go around New Donk City dressed as Donkey Kong in his polygonal N64 form. That was kind of like what I was thinking of, like replicating Odyssey, basically. And so I get there, fight Void Kong, do that thing, whole thing, and, you know, I punch him to death and he's gonna die. And I'm like, cool, right, that's it, that's the end, right? And then fucking K. Rool appears, and I had not clocked it at all. I had not looked at that thing and thought, I was like, oh, gold, yeah, there's just gold in this game, right? It's bananas, right? And I had not clocked it in any way, and the moment that you see K. Rool, I was like, oh my fucking god, it really got me. It absolutely got me. But it sounds like yours was different.
Yeah, so through, I don't know where I saw it from, Blue Sky or Twitter or YouTube, like there were just a lot of like K. Rool thumbnails and faces and images going around.
Oh, really?
So I was like, okay, people are going wild about this ending. I'm guessing K. Rool's in this game. Even knowing K. Rool was at the end, like I think the ending was sublime. Like it was fantastic.
Oh my God.
Like it's so impressive. I think that I think the lead up, so yeah, you defeat Void and then K. Rool, and then he goes down and
then you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, there's another layer, right?
Yeah,
like,
but he's just so, his animation is so impressive, and it's just so angry, and I'm like,
and the eyeball as well, like the zoom in on like the kind of like fucked up eyeball. So the thing for me as well that adds on top of all of this is when you go through that final layer, all the enemies are Kremlings. They're all like the same really enemies you've been fighting, but they have been like Kremlingified. So it's like really the big guys with the shields and stuff, but instead of skeletons underneath, they're full Kremlings underneath, which is just like the bees as well. The bees are there instead of like the other flying enemies. It's like they replicate all the enemy types, but they have them skinned as the original Donkey Kong Country versions.
It's very cool,
which is so cool.
And I think the initial fight itself is a very strong fight. Just that one you do in the Planet Core is really cool.
Right, yeah.
And then, you know, to be shot up into New Donk City and So there's like lore stuff around this whole. Like, I was very convinced New Donk City would be in this game. I was very convinced of that. So I think that getting there was very cool, and the idea of him taking over the city and his motivation is just that he wants mushy, rotten bananas is just so bizarre and weird.
Yeah.
So that was very strange.
Right. But we've got to talk about the best moment of this game, which is you've beat him at the planet core. And then you're like, right, let's get on these bananas to wish ourselves back to the surface. And you get on the bananas, and it's like, oh, great, it's the end. And you get a logo, Donkey Kong Bananza. But it has K. Rool on it instead. And then it starts scrolling the credits. And you realize, wait a fucking
like
second.
Donkey Kong Country 1.
They're doing the exact same thing
yeah.
in Donkey Kong Country 1, where it's a fake credits roll, and all the people in the credits are names of Kremlings. They all begin with K, and it gets to a thing and it says the end ? Which is the exact same thing it does in the original Donkey Kong Country. And in the original Donkey Kong Country, K. Rool gets up and has a third phase of the boss fight, basically. So you think you've beaten him, and then it's like, cool. Lol, we have a third phase of the boss fight. And this boss fight section, it kicks in the fucking music. You are going through the sky as bananas are like rocketing you up to the surface, and you are fighting K. Rool as that music is playing.
Yeah.
I was smiling nonstop. I was like, this is the coolest thing that has happened in a Nintendo game in a long time. Like, that is where that love and reverence for the rare stuff really shone through, of like that whole like fake ending and then using the music to come through. I was like, this is peak. This is the best thing this game has done. Absolutely fucking loved it. It was so good.
And those boss fights, he's got the gun that sucks up the big ball and shoots it out, like referencing that. And you know, when he's rocketing up, that propeller thing is from Donkey Kong Country 3, the one game I've not played in the Country series.
Right, yeah.
And the final fight is in a boxing ring, which is akin to Donkey Kong 64.
Yes.
It's all very, very good. And that final fight is finally just a little bit more challenging than the others. It was very satisfying. And that gunk,
it takes quite a long time.
Yeah, that gunk that he's spewing out, even the elephant takes like an extra minute to like get through it. Like it's not just this easy material that you can just blast your way through to create space. You really have to like work at it, which I thought was good. And you're like creating channels, and then you suck up the ball, and then you punch it back in.
Were you using the charge up punch to punch back with the Kong Bananza?
Yes, yeah. Kong Bananza the whole way, basically.
Because that one does like a ton of damage to him, basically, when you ricochet the cannonball back at him. Essentially, it's a great fight. And then going through New Donk City with all the different like propaganda for King K. Rool is it's just really fun. I think they really nailed it. It was just, I think it's stronger than Mario Odyssey's ending, as much as playing as Bowser was very cool in that game. I don't know, Mario Odyssey has the moon and everything. There's lots of cool stuff in Odyssey's ending, if you kind of count all the final stuff. I think the ending sequence, I think, is stronger in DK, but you're right, the final area of Odyssey is arguably stronger. I do agree with you on that. Like, it's for sure. Very cool. But yeah, I mean, I think it ends very strong. I think my one disappointment is that we don't get to go to New Donk City as a layer or as an area to visit, basically. Yes, surprising. It would have been very cool to do that. Instead, they basically add a bunch of new bananas to the first area. So when you go to the post game, there's loads of more bananas to collect in the original mines that you start the tutorial in. Boomtown. But so I checked, it's actually Baboom Town. It's not just Boomtown. It's Baboom Town. God. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not exactly, but it's close enough. Close enough. Yeah. So you get loads more bananas to do there. But yeah, I was just like, I really want, like, I think that's a slight disappointment for you as well. Is like, the costumes are cool, and I think Pauline has some really good costumes. DK just has colors for his fur, and I'm like, I just wish they'd gone a little bit further with it. I just wish they had like more references to other stuff for his outfits, instead of just being, it's now a marshmallow color and it's pink and white or whatever. Like, there could have been some really awesome stuff they could have done with how he looks and what his equipment is. But yeah, I wanted as much as I've never really played the DK arcade game or whatever, I wanted a little bit more red girders and kind of that style that you get. Did you get that trousers, a set of trousers that has red girders? Those were cool. Yeah.
I need a bit more than trousers. I think
I agree. I agree.
Like, there could have been a level that was just a lot more. I think they used a bit of girders in and around the kind of like the racing layer.
I was 100% expecting like part of the final boss fight to be running on that's in the side-scrolling mode. You know, playing the final arcade machine. You know?
There's just a few things that like, right, we're going to do fan service, let's really go for it on a certain few number of areas. Just in the way that like DK Spaceport in Mario Kart does, for example. Like I think that's a really cool with the references. And I do think Diddy and Dixie got done really badly in this game.
Right.
They're just behind the desk briefly on the racing level.
You do race them. You do race them as part of the Rambi race.
You do.
To get the bananas, but
for considering Diddy Kong, you play as him in the whole of Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, and then he's just this little side character. It's
right.
Strange. But I think the whole overall, the glow up that DK has had with this game, and that the punching ability is just so. It never got boring. It never got tiring. But like by the end of the game, it was just like, I still love just punching things and interacting with different materials and throwing them at things and do it. Like there is just like a really innovative level of creativity in this game that I loved and never got old. And I think that my highlight of the game is probably the shrines, like those styles of levels. I want more of those across all Nintendo games, no matter whether you're Zelda, Mario, Kirby, I don't care. Splatoon, I just want these little shrine rooms that are scattered throughout the game. Because just new ideas, jump in, jump out. Like I love that level of game design. It's just some of the best things of this game. I think were just those going into those areas, getting 3 bananas, finding that like third hidden banana was good fun too. You know, it's a bit like the hidden chest in each of the shrines in Zelda. It's like just that bonus thing. Oh, can I actually do that? Like just real highlight.
Yeah, for sure. I think those were very, very good. Yeah, I don't know. I think some of the post game stuff is good fun. Have you done any of it yet? Have you tried?
No. Is it like 5 per Bananza or?
So basically each Bananza area, you go to the guru, the giant animal, and the DJ, I guess, and
the elder.
They are like, the elder, and they're like, I have a challenge for you, and so. Each of the levels is built around each of the power-ups, basically, and so you are permanently that power-up through the... It's not like you don't have the timer on, you're just like, I'm Kong Bananza the whole time, basically. And so each of them has challenges, and so there's a main banana and there's a side banana. So like the main banana is on the main path, and then the side banana is like an optional thing for each area. So I think there's usually like 9 bananas. I think the zebra one is a little different because the zebra one has a timed component to it because it's all about racing, and so you get 2 bananas, one for a regular time and one for a faster time. So that was a little bit more tricky because you have to like, you know, reset it if you don't get the faster time. But yeah, all of them are built around the abilities and are much more challenging than anything else in the game up to that point, basically. So if you want a bit more challenge, if you want some more interesting platforming and kind of combat scenarios, those are the places to go. And you already have enough bananas to do all of them because 600 is the one you need for the final one. So you've already got enough, basically. So.
That'd be a nice thing to do before sort of go-to discussions, ideally. If
a
I
nice
have enough
reminder.
Time. But the games I'm trying to play between now and the end of the year is
well, Hollow Knight Silksong coming out next week doesn't help things, does it? Like, okay,
Silksong,
I'm gonna play that now.
Ghost of Yote. I've decided I just can't get back to Witcher this year. That's probably a project for next year, and that's fine. And then I've got to play like Layton as well. Got to do that in Game Trade.
Oh fuck,
and
yeah,
that's
forgot
not
about
counting Metroid Prime 4, and then
oh my god, Prime 4 is coming.
Hopefully play a few shorter things in between. That's my aim for the year.
Hades 2 is probably dropping as well.
Hades 2.
Hades 2 out, yeah.
So like when Pikmin 4 came out and it was like 40 hours, I think I wasn't expecting DK to be close to that length.
So no, certainly not.
It sucked up a lot of gaming hours over the last month or two, but I still enjoyed all of them. It was
definitely worth it.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was very good
for sure. Yeah. Any closing thoughts? Any final things that we haven't mentioned that you wanted to?
What's next for this team? Is it Mario Odyssey 2? Is it just the new Mario game? And is it coming this year, next year, the year after that? When's it coming?
I think they've got another team. I think that we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see the next Mario game next year. I think it's gonna be a successor to their 3D Mario games. I think similar to what they've done every console generation is there's not going to be a sequel. It's going to be a brand new thing. It's going to be Super Mario Iliad or whatever the fuck. It's going to be a different. It's going to be a different.
See it
approach.
next year. Comes out the year after that.
Yeah, I think it gets revealed in the summer.
So you're going for a decade between Mario games in that case.
Yeah, I am.
I think we're going to get within the decade. It's going to be.
Okay. Do you think summer announce and then winter release, basically?
I think there's a chance we see it in the September Direct for next year.
Wait, the September Direct that we're just about to get?
Yep. And then we get it next year.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's mad. Okay.
I'm calling it.
Well, some of us are crazy.
And it might even come out this year and help my fantasy critic.
Oh, Christ. Please don't do that. Yeah, well, I think that's it. That's Donkey Kong Bonanza. Hell of a video game.
It's gonna get that TJ nom, DK.
I think so. Yeah, it'll definitely be in the top 6. I think the guarantees are Expedition 33, Donkey Kong, and Death Stranding 2. Those 3 are locks, and then the rest we'll see what happens.
Silksong.
Silksong.
Hades
Yeah,
2.
Silksong. God damn it! Why are there so many good video games coming? Oh, it's a bounty of riches. It's going to be mad. But we'll be here for the madness. Of course, next time on the show, I'm sure all we'll talk about is Hollow Knight Silksong, so I'm sure that will be interesting. I want to play...
MBZ will have beaten it. I'll be through the first area. It's going to be some good listening.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to play of Silksong. We'll see. I do want to...
Just don't try and DK it. You don't have to beat a game in a weekend, MBZ. You can give it a little more time.
I know that Silksong is going to be a long game, so
okay,
I'm not
I think that's the problem. You didn't
and...
think DK was going to be a long game, and then it kept getting longer and longer and longer.
Right, yeah, it was surprising in that way. I still need to finish 100 Line Lost Defense Academy. I started the Somnium Files, the spin-off as well. Just too many fucking games, man. I've got to lock down and actually focus on finishing something. All I'm doing is playing our own fucking game. I'm just playing 70 hours of Void Break. This is, if you wonder where a lot of my time has gone this year in terms of games, I've been playing PlayStat games on my off time just because I like Void Breaker is so fucking good that I've just been playing it on my own time. So that has taken up a bunch of my gaming time as well. So again, you can't trust my opinion because I'm biased, but that's fucking. If I didn't work on that game, that'd be a top 10 in my list, easy. What a good video game. So yeah, anyway, that's going to do us for this episode. Thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, but before we do that, let's tell you about some things that you can go and find regarding us on the internet. One of those being Patreon, patreon.com/ThisNintendoLife, where we'd like to thank some of our supporters.
Yes, thank you to our $10 tier plus patrons. They are Sullivan C, Zach S, Thomas, Matthew, Albert, Wicked Gamer UK Alan, Orange Thunder, Nintendo Man, and Ali T. Thank you all for your $10 tier plus support. But also thank you to all of our other patrons. We really, really appreciate all the support you give the show. MZ, you did a little episode on Patreon when I was off ill, and you played a game I'm currently playing, and it's very cool, in Sword of the Sea.
Yeah,
so
Sword of the Sea.
Very cool. But again, you mentioned it before, MBZ, you're going to put out a little bit of an audio log bonus.
Yeah, for Gamescom. I'm realizing I think I still didn't upload last year's Gamescom, so I'll probably... I don't think I did, whammy. So maybe we'll do a double whammy of Gamescom.
That's going to be on the $5 tier.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So you can go check that out and hear my stories about everything that happens at Gamescom. It's lots of fun stuff. So do check that out. You obviously can find us on the internet in various places. I'm on Blue Sky at NBZ. Where can they find you, Bally?
I'm on Blue Sky at Ballyman91. That's BALLYMAN91.
Great, and you can follow the podcast there as well at TNL Podcast and get updates on shows such as this one being delayed because of our travel. So yeah, you would have known that if you followed us over there.
Next episode won't be delayed, but we'll definitely have played some Silksong. I'm going to put out a shout out right now, actually, MBZ. I think we should shout out if you have comments, questions of the opening few hours of Silksong. We want to hear them because I think next episode is going to be dictated by Silksong thoughts. So
pretty much, yeah, I think so. We'll probably do a deep dive on it. So yeah, if you are planning on playing Silksong, which I imagine is 99% of our audience, then do hop on Discord. I think we'll probably do a call out on Discord as well of like, hey, do you have any comments about the game? And then we'll bring those in as we do our discussion next time, which will be good fun. Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, you can join the Discord as well. Obviously, that's linked in the show notes, as well as find our YouTube channel, which is where we also post the episodes. And Bally, they can also email the show if they want to be old school about it. Where can they email those questions to?
Please email ThisNintendoLife@gmail.com. That is ThisNintendoLife@gmail.com.
Great. You can also, of course, go ahead and do something else. Well, my brain is just short-circuited. What's the last thing? Oh, find us on the internet. That's it.
Yes.
We're on Spotify, we're on Stitcher. We're all over the place. Just if you have a podcasting app, we're there. Just type This Nintendo Life in, and you'll find us, and you can listen to us on the internet.
I think
because we live here.
One more cool thing about Silksong is there's no review copies. So we're all going to be playing it at the same time.
Bally, you won't be able to be spoiled by a YouTube thumbnail because it's not out there yet. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Look, it's on me. If I'm going to take 2 months to beat a 35-hour game, it's on me. Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. No, I think the unfortunate truth is that within 2 days, someone will have already beaten the final mega secret super boss and will have plastered it all over YouTube. So we all still will have to be careful.
I don't think I'm going to end up beating the super secret boss because I never did.
No, I don't. Neither of us did it for original Hollow Knight either. So
I think Nine Souls has hardened us up a bit, ready for this experience. I think I'm feeling a bit more resilient than I was when I played Hollow Knight way back when.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I beat that first boss first time. So I'm balling out here. It's gonna be no problem. easy video game. No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it's gonna be great. And we'll talk about it a lot on the next episode. But until then, thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back soon with some more of this. Until then, bye-bye.